Hello everyone, welcome back to the Zach F1 channel, and this is another episode of everything you need to know for the upcoming race in F1. And of course, we are heading to Austria. We're 1/3 of the way through the triple header. This will be the second race of the three, of course, and my god, I'm hoping for a good race. As Spain was good, however, I was hoping for a little bit more from Spain, and I was left a little bit disappointed. But to be fair, that could also be because I'm a McLaren fan and we sort of bottled it, so just a little bit biased there as well. But anyway, let's talk about Austria. So let's talk about, again, the track layout and a few past instances. So there are 3 DRS zones. This is incredible. Obviously, the more DRS zones, the more chances for overtakes. And I mean, it sort of makes sense because there's only 10 turns at the circuit, so they've sort of got to fill it up with straights to make it long enough because it's a very short track. However, lots of laps. It's going to be exciting. So many chances to overtake. Now, there are times that trains can form. However, it's more the case where we get plenty of ding-dong battles. I'll talk about some of them in a second. But, like for instance, last year we had 63 on-track after lap 1 overtakes in Austria. 63 is the same amount we had last season in Spain, basically, that I talked about in my other video. But it's just always so exciting when we get so many overtaking, because at least we can sort of see what's going on. Like, even in Spain, where it wasn't as exciting as I was hoping for, we still got a lot of overtakes, which I was like, oh, look at that, and it was fun to watch. So very much excited for Austria. I'm always excited for Austria. Austria tends to always be a great race. And to spat on more about the overtaking, we always get such good battling into sectors 1 and 2. Because obviously you get the DRS going into the first straight. It's not that strong there. However, that long straight after turn 1 is immense. And you can see overtaking there. You can see like strategies going out where you can play defensive and then go and try and get another bite of the cherry after turn 2 on that straight as well. And we've also seen where that can go wrong going into turn 3. A lot of incidents have happened there. And especially with it being a sprint race weekend as well, we get more racing. It all leads up to it being one of my favourite tracks on the grid. Now, also we have the thing where in the past few years, I'm sure it's going to be the same, where the track is very strict on how much you can go off and on, because we used to see cars just whipping it round, not really staying on the track. And now you got to be really careful that you don't go off the track, as you'll get your lap time invalidated. And we've also seen that that makes qualifying so much more interesting, because your favorite driver could set a really good time and you'll just see them go blob, didn't actually register. Same thing in the race. A lot of drivers will get 5-second penalties. We saw Norris get his first podium here because of Hamilton doing that. We've seen it multiple times with other drivers doing it. So it's safe to say, with everything around the track, the 3 DRS zones, the amount of overtakes, the amount of drama we always have, I'm really hoping for a good race. And we know Verstappen and Norris will probably be battling it out again for another good race. And hopefully this time round we can have the Mercedes and Ferraris battling it with the top 2 as well. So let's talk about things to look out for in Austria. Now, we need to talk about it being Red Bull's home ground. It's obviously called the Red Bull Racing Ring, so I'd be surprised if no one knew that it was the Red Bull's home turf. So I'd be surprised if no one knew it had Red Bull ties. We always see some great fans though. I'm excited to see the orange wall, because we always tend to see quite a few Dutch fans because it's quite close to Netherlands, and also because it's a very dominated Red Bull track. Everyone loves Verstappen there. So potentially we could be seeing Verstappen drive the day, by the way. Who knows? Who knows? But realistically, yeah, it's their home Grand Prix and it's a track that they really like. So I'd be surprised if we didn't see another Verstappen win. However, like usual, it's not going to be Verstappen blowing it away. He's going to have to really push that car. But I still wouldn't be surprised if he won that race. But then talking about that, let's talk about the new sort of like rivalry going along. And it's a rivalry where someone's getting drastically beaten up. And it's Norris versus Verstappen, but at least we're getting good racing. So now we've had Imola, where they were close to each other in finishing positions. We've had Miami, where Norris, yes, got lucky with the safety car, but was faster than Verstappen. We've then had Canada, where Norris looked like he could go faster. We've had Russell look like he could go faster. Technically, he's not in that group, but we also had Verstappen, who obviously then won it. Again, with Spain, Verstappen had a better start, and if Norris had a better start, he would have won it. It was tight again. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. The reason why I say Norris is getting battered is because he's got 1 race win to 3 second places. But it's really nice seeing two drivers battling it out at least for the top spot most of the time. And it's even getting to the point where people are calling it the Max and Lando podcast now. It's no longer just Max's podcast, where he brings on everyone on the podium. Obviously, you had the special guest of Hammy last weekend. But it's just exciting to know at least we're getting battling. It's by no means a Drivers' Championship battle. Even the Constructors' Championship, I said, was a little bit weary. I think it's died a lot now. Ferrari really were looking like if they could push Red Bull, they're fine. But Perez doesn't even need to worry basically now, because I think if Verstappen keeps on winning, no one can get close enough. So sadly, I think Drivers and Constructors Championships are done. However, we're still in for a great season of racing, and that second place in the Constructors is going to get quite juicy, especially if Mercedes keep going in this trajectory they're going. But then we also need to talk about Mercedes not really being the dark horse and their battle with Ferrari. So in Spain, Leclerc almost overtook Russell, but again, that was sort of because the strategy didn't really go Russell's way. So I think Mercedes definitely looked a lot better than Ferrari. However, every weekend we're sort of seeing slightly different positions from each of them. So I'm really hoping we do see more Mercedes-Ferrari battles. But again, Ferrari are getting beaten by quite a bit. So they've got to pull their socks up, stop fighting with each other as well, because Leclerc and Sainz are getting a little bit yapper in each other's ears. I, for one, think that's something to keep an eye on, because it's the final podium position that's getting juicy. We keep on seeing someone else, like I said. Hopefully they can battle Verstappen and Norris, but I also do like the podium position fight. And then we can talk about the Alpines. Can they actually bring that pace they had in Spain over to Austria? Now, last weekend was like watching a miracle. All of a sudden, Alpine looked like a competent car, and they've really gotten over how bad that car was. Now, it's not as big as a drastic turnover that the McLaren last season was to where they are now, but it really is bigger than everyone seems to be realising, where they were literally bottom of the grid. Where they've been from Bahrain to Jeddah to now is actually incredible, and it's one of these races where I really do believe Alpine will get another top 10 finish. It'll be tighter, because I think Aston Martin and VCARB will be getting back into it, especially Aston Martin around Austria. Alonso tends to do pretty well around here. But I'm so confident that Alpine will be carrying on with this pace now, because Spain's such a good way to figure out where people have pace, that if Alpine do not get a top 10 finish, I will record myself doing 100 push-ups in one day, which I can't even remember the last time I did a push-up, but I'm pretty sure probably around 10 to 15 is what I can normally do in one sitting, and I'd probably be out of breath from that. So that's how adamant I am that Alpine are going to get top 10. Mark my words, they're going to carry on that pace from Spain. And VCARB and Aston Martin, although they will catch up, have got to do a little bit of tweaking by themselves as well. And then finally, on the key topics, I think I should talk about Williams, because it's such a shame. Normally coming to Austria, I'm always pretty excited to see what they can do. Normally Albon pulls out great races at Monza and Austria. Because of how the track layout is, Williams are always been a fast car in the straights. However, this season they tried to go for a more balanced approach, and it hasn't worked. I'm really scared they're just going to be back into 20th position, especially Logan Sargent. He'll be 20th. But I don't think Albon's going to be able to do much as well. So it's a shame to see Williams in this position, but it's where they are right now, and I don't expect them to even be in the top 15 going into Austria. But anyway, that about sums up this video for everything you will need to know for Austria. Again, keep an eye on the weather, because it could get very juicy. I'm hoping for quite a bit of hard racing, as we tend to see that quite a lot. But what do you all think for Austria? Are you all excited as I am? Because I know I'm buzzing to go for this. And I have to say, it tends to be one of the best sprint race weekends, because like Brazil, like Austria, it's one of my favourite tracks, so I'm actually okay with the sprint race weekend being there. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all later for another F1 video. Bye bye.